On a small island in the deep Pacific, there is a supermoon hanging in the sky. A plane taxis on the runway. Passengers are chatting and laughing, but they don't want it to happen in a row on the plane. The survivors start to panic. Who is the murderer? Mutual suspicion. Beware of each other, but unfortunately one by one becomes the target of the murderer. Hello everyone, I am Lin Fangsheng. Today, I bring you the movie released on March 21st, and the world. Desperate Flight on March 8th, Malaysia Airlines ambiguous three mothers. In the past 3 days, this air crash-themed film occupies the right time and place. It has received nearly filming support from theaters across the country during its first weekend of release. We will talk about the final results later. The story begins. The flight to Singapore is about to be cancelled due to the fainting of the tourist. Tonight will be the last flight. The last is usually the most troublesome. This is a film and television drama. The crew came out one after another, and there were only 5 people in total, including the captain, assistant, and 3 flight attendants. Passengers also arrived one after another. The first to arrive was the young people with 500 million to travel. The cuckold brother and Richard May are a young couple, the glasses man and the long-haired girl are a Harumi and a single Hong Yi draftee. A local blind grandmother with his granddaughter. I don't know why they are respected by people at the airport. The man with glasses kindly gave the little girl a toy. A group of couples who came for honeymoon are rude, brother and sex, they dominate first class. If a plane is bigger, there are 9 passengers in total, no wonder they cancel the route. The plane starts to slide slowly, but the grandma suddenly stood up and shouted loudly that she couldn't fly. Hurry up to ask for leave and shout while leaving. As the flight attendant, I hurried forward to comfort the plane. The grandmother could only helplessly sigh and pray. The beginning of the story is such a spiritual power. When the audience is waiting for the horror and disaster to come, the screenwriter does not play cards according to the routine and dedicates to the audience and initiates welfare. Hwang Gi-han handed the cell phone to the flight attendant. The flight attendant gave him a mysterious look, turned around and walked towards the back cabin. Green Tea didn't look at it all. Yang Ling seemed to be thinking. Everyone said, "Don't talk about going to Huangdi," quietly got up and walked into the back cabin. The stewardess had been waiting in the backcourt for a long time, and went straight to the theme without saying a word. The battle has not been decided for 300 rounds. The refreshing yellow clothes walked out of the rear cabin just in time to meet the green tea girl who couldn't sleep. She stepped forward and took her hand. "Isn't this your brother's friend? Why are you so arrogant? I thought that Huang Yunin would go to a green tea manicure doctor again. The two of them are already fathers. The poor cuckold is still working hard. I want to give green tea a bright future." The little girl is drawing a woman between 2 men. The content of the drawing between the 2 men is frightening. I found that the food had already been eaten, and I couldn't understand it. The locked luggage suddenly popped up. He hurriedly avoided falling to the ground and got up, terrified half to death. It turned out that the little girl was playing with glasses. The environment of the Southern Song dynasty carried the little girl back to the seat. The long-haired girl was preparing to go to the toilet in the back cabin. The flight attendant who just let go of the milk with a scream has already taken the box lunch. Everyone is overwhelmed and starts to suspect each other. The man in glasses first accused Huang Nan that the boat of friendship that had been in the back cabin overturned. Everyone stopped arguing until the captain appeared. The cuckold brother said that he wanted to check the corpse, and was surprised to find that all the scars on the flight attendant were animal scratches and died of a deadly poison. The old lady kept talking, acting very frightened. It is strictly forbidden to take it to the baby who has been looking at the little girl furtively. Hearing about the irritability of this matter, the captain taught the first-class cabin to be in trouble. At this moment, the plane had a power failure. The assistant who checked the wiring also got the lunchbox and how to die exactly the same. The High Five's plea for help made the initial determination 2 decades ago that the bites and poisoning were caused by mutated creatures on a small Pacific island, just as the captain was praying that he would survive until landing. There was an accident in the first-class cabin again. I was screaming. I was wrapping myself up from the bathroom. Everyone felt that it was okay to check it, but the sexy deadline was only injured. But the man in glasses returned strangely, and he desperately snatched the little girl's baby. Asked like crazy. It turns out that the little girl who found an animal fossil on his island secretly hid it in her bag and took it on a plane. The irritable brother has been restless. If you grab the man with glasses, you will be beaten up. The glasses card that was knocked over to the ground felt unbearable in remorse and wanted to go to the cheap biological mother to single out the younger sister, but she was uneasy and she followed. The story of the gourd baby saving grandpa and delivering them one by one began. Fortunately, the others arrived in time. They were all just injured. Led by the captain. Can't afford to provoke, only hide 1 hour away from the construction. The steward brings everyone together. More people, more power. Chinjin is getting worse and worse and the plane keeps bumping. After finally calming down, the old grandmother in the back row stood up and called the little girl. At first, she thought it was the great-grandma, so she received the money for the lunchbox. The latest news sent to the parents turned out to be good luck until there were many incidents of monsters hurting people recently. Is the real reason they cancelled the route. Washing the wound with pure water can delay the spread of the venom. The irritable brother wanted to monopolize the few bottles of water he had and had a dispute with the man with glasses. The flight attendant was holding the picture drawn by the little girl that the shivering little girl stumbled upon. The painting records everything that everyone will experience on the plane. It turns out that the little girl is the real god of prophecy. I'm about to fly to the airport and don't want to encounter a tropical storm. The Singapore airport closed the plane and had to change it to a grumpy song and found that something was wrong and he didn't want to stay on the plane for a moment. He kept pressing the flight attendant to get a parachute and hijacked everyone to ask the captain to descend. Cuckold song Morning Grumpy doesn't like and misses him. But obviously it's not the opponent's parent, Huang Yi, the boy is lost. Bravely hugging and holding a quiet rear cabin, but he doesn't know that the monster has been waiting in the backcourt for a long time. Shower cap Maggie crawled out weakly and followed the cranky song that came out covered in scratches and casually shipped his body accordingly. The sexy sister hurriedly stepped forward and hugged her husband's body and cried loudly. The monster said that she was dragged into the rear cabin of the takeoff. The rest of the people hurriedly ran for their lives. The flight attendant failed to escape the clutches of the last Tour de France. A group of old, weak, sick and disabled had no choice but to escape into the cockpit. The little girl's words showed that the next one to die was Huang Yinan's appointment, who wanted to take the initiative to attack the steward and Cuckoldie, who went out and found that Huang Fahong, the police, can't do it. It's a walkie-talkie. You're here to tease me. Search the cabin slowly. The monster finally appeared and the monster that killed several people turned out to be a black cat. The special effects of the 30 cents stunned me. He is constantly moving, agile and transforming. Huang Nan rushed to the black cat recklessly and his body was overturned on the ground. I don't think the black cat did not continue to attack and left time for the two big men to tell each other their hearts. Sorry for making you cuckold. It doesn't matter, good brother, I want to know what is going on in the screenwriter's mind. The black cat began to attack the cockpit. The captain opened the door and stayed at home. He didn't want the inferior door to stop the black cat and the long chicken was also injured. The black cat disappeared again. The flight attendant thought of a way to play with the black cat. He made a bait with a little girl's toy and wanted to fight a fish and die. The black cat did not resist the temptation and walked out slowly. This black cat is attracted to toys. The captain approached the door slowly and pulled the handle of the door and the black cat was sucked out of the cabin by the air current. The rope on the back of the parachute was hung in the air. The flight attendant rushed to help and held the rope tightly. Who can tell me why he was not washed out? The captain of the black cat was crawling back one by one until the rope could not be supported, so she resolutely cut the rope. The sky that disappeared with the black cat. At this time, the plane was already over the airport, but there was no driver and the steward went straight to the driver's seat. It turned out that he and the captain were lovers. The captain also secretly taught him a few tricks. The rest of the people at the airport were properly arranged. The forecaster actually forgave the green tea without the purser, but suddenly received a mysterious call. The captain was still dead. Just when the two of you were fighting, the little girl's backpack moved a few times and a black cat emerged. At the end of the movie, it looks like there will be a sequel, Desperate Flight. A very cool name to match the movie's poster, coupled with the weakness of Malaysia Airlines, makes people look forward to it. But I don't want a good card to be played like this. Ultimately it's the box office and reviews. Double hit the street. There are so many places to complain. I won't list them one by one here. After reading it, I can't figure out whether it is fantasy or wonderful. Is it a thriller or a golden card special effect turned into a funny love and turned into a hooligan? Of course moviegoers with bad views won't buy it. I'm looking forward to its sequel. I don't know if there is still room to go down. Well, just tell stories, don't brag, just follow us and see you in the next issue.